When I was your age, I was a junior in high school. I had a car and I needed a job. And where I lived in Houston, they had just opened the very first Kentucky Fried Chicken. And so I went down there and I got my first job frying chicken for the Colonel. And back then, the chicken would come frozen and you had to break the thighs. So because they were frozen, the bone fragments would go right into your hands. And then you had to bend the wings, and you had to bend the wings in kind of a contorted way. Then you deep fry them, and then at the end of the night, you had to take a steel brush and you had to polish those pots until they shined again. By the time I was done after one day, I had bone fragments in my hands. I had steel brushes. I had little threads of steel in my hands. It was horrible. My hands were all infected. They hurt. Yeah. And I did this for about 5 days. And then one night after cleaning these pots, and I looked up at the moon and I said in a kind of a manner that I believed it, I said, I'm never going to use these hands for anything but playing the guitar. And so then I drove down the next day to the music store, the local music store, and asked if I could start teaching guitar there. And they said, sure. So that's how I got started teaching. I've kept that promise to myself, and I've never had to do any of that type of work again. When you play the guitar, there's layers of information that you can learn. There's no end to how many layers you can put on there. You can at some point decide, I'm not going to add anything more. So when we start the first year here, it's more like boot camp. You learn your chords, you learn your scales, you learn your arpeggios, you learn how to read, you learn how to count rhythms, you learn how to play some ensemble music. And then, next year, you learn a little bit more about improvisation and more about chords. You learn more about right-hand technique and left-hand technique. You learn more about the history. Almost everybody, by the time they're juniors here, can sight read pretty well and read notes and rhythms pretty well. So then it's about tone production and how to interpret pieces and how to add dynamics and how to phrase and how to identify your cadences, all those kinds of things. So it's not as obvious about how much you're learning, but it makes the difference of nuances about how to become more of a musician. And ultimately, I think every day it's about teaching some form of discipline and some form of understanding that procrastination is an enemy.